Good morning, everyone. Okay, let us start our lesson today. Today we go to the lesson 6 of the graph of trigonometry functions. Okay, so today we are learning about the patterns of the graph of sine, cosines, and tangent. Okay, so this is the basic graph, the basic graph, not the trigonometry graph, but the examples of the graph. Okay, this is a straight line graph, the graph of straight line. This is the quadratic graph, y equal to s squared, quadratic. As U shape or N shape, then this is the this is the cube graph, cube. Then this is the short graph. Then this is the example of sine graph, and this is the example of exponent graph. Okay, but we don't learn too much for this topic. For this topic, we learn about 3 types of graph only. So at first, you see this. Actually, the graph is related with the angles. Okay, still remember the quadrant. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. This is your first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So all of the value here, sine, cos, and tangent are positive. Therefore, here it's only the sine graph are positive because sine is y, right? Sine is y. So only sine positive. Then this one only tangent positive. Then last one is cosine is positive. Okay, so from here you will get the size of the various trigonometry functions according to the quadrant. For the sine graph, first and second quadrant positive. Cosine graph, first and fourth graph positive. And the tangent, first and third graph positive. Can you remember it? Then for the reciprocal graph is following the reciprocal one. For example, the cotangent graph, first and third. Then for second, cosine is another one, the reciprocal one, tangent reciprocal with cotangent. Then cosecant reciprocal with sine. Then another one is second reciprocal with cos. They are same. Okay. Cos and second, you see, cos and second positive at the fourth quadrant, tangent and cot positive at the third quadrant, then sine and cosec positive at the second quadrant. Okay. So the graph of the graph of sine and cosine graph are sinusoidal. What means sinusoidal? Sinusoidal curve is the graph of the sine function in trigonometry. It's in this form. You have I believe you already learned in your physics. So this one we call the sinusoidal graph. But why cosine graph is sinusoidal graph? Because it's the converse of the sine graph also. They are the same pattern, but only you see this positive, but for the cosine is positive, negative, positive. Okay, later I'll show you the difference. Okay, the maximum value for the sine and cosine graph is 1. Then amplitude is 1. What mean amplitude? This one mean amplitude. Okay, then this we call this as equilibrium line. And this two is maximum point. We'll have maximum point, and this is the minimum point. Then amplitude is the maximum value or the minimum value to the equilibrium line. Okay. here to here is amplitude. Here to here is amplitude. But you cannot say that here to here is amplitude. This is wrong. Okay, this is amplitude. Okay, then the graph. So you see this. What does it mean by the period? Period means what? Period. The graph repeat itself every 360 degree or 2 pi radian. Okay, so this one we call the period. Period means for one circle. One circle. Then it 360 or 2 pi radian. Okay, so now let us practice how to draw the graph of sine function. Okay, so how are you going to draw this? So look at this. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So if according to here, 0 to here, okay, 0 to first quadrant. So here to here, this is first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Okay, so the value, we have two types. The first type is the value is in between 0 to 360. So another one, if in pi radian, 0 to 2 pi radian. Okay, 0 to 2 pi radian. So half is pi, then half and half, 1 over 2, then another one, 3 over 2. Okay, 0, pi, 2 pi radian. So this half over 2, 3 over 2 pi radian. So you have to know this is the basic thing. So for us to draw the sine graph, normally I will ask students to look at the 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360 because this is the quadrant, the four quadrant. So the value for the radian here I show you already. So we see if you press your calculator, sin 0. Sin 0, you get the value is 0, right? Then you get sin 90. So it's 1. So let's say this is 1, right? Because the radius, according to the unit circle, this is 1. Here is negative 1. Here is 1. Here is negative 1. I'll look at the value for the, just I'll look at the value for the y-axis only, y coordinate. Y here, the first one, y is 0. Okay, the first one, y is 0 at 0. So second one, okay, the second one, okay, here is 1. Here is negative 1, Okay, so next 90 degree. 90 degrees here. So 1. Mark it 1. So 180, 0. Sin 180, 0. So after this, sin 270, negative 1. Straightforward, you can see from the unit circle, negative 270, negative 1. Sin 0, the y is 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. Okay, negative 1, 0. Then how you're going to draw your graph? Sinusoidal. Sinusoidal means the curved one, you cannot, a lot of students draw like this, like zigzag. And this is wrong. If you draw like this, then wrong. You cannot draw like this. Must be in sinus form. Must be in sinus form. So, curve. Okay, like U shape. Okay, because must be in this form. Okay, cannot like this. Okay, not like this. Okay, sinus form. So this is the example of the graph of sine function. Then now we look at how we're going to draw the graph. Okay, we look back here. So you see the first quadrant, positive. Positive, it means the increase positive at the above the x-axis. See this first quadrant, positive, positive. Then third and fourth quadrant are below the s-axis, negative, negative. Okay. Then we go to the graph of cosine. Okay, we do the same thing. We look at 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. Then the value. Wait a moment, I save first. Okay, then the value for the cos 0, 1. Cos 0, cos x. You see the cos x. Cos x is the value we consider the value for x coordinate, right? Actually, it's same with the x coordinate. Or you simply press your calculator and you will know this is first, second, third, and this is fourth quadrant. Okay, this is your first, second, third, and fourth quadrant. Positive one, negative one. So at the first quadrant, the value for the cos y is 1. You see? X. We look at the x, positive 1. Okay, 1. So you mark here 1. I use other color. Okay, and then second one, cos 90, 0. Cos 180, negative 1. Then 0 and positive 1. So how are you going to draw the graph? You don't draw your graph like this. You don't draw your graph like this. It's a sinus form. I'm sorry. Okay, must in sinus form. Very hard for me to draw. Okay, I draw again. Oh. I don't know how to draw it. Very hard. Last try. Okay. Okay, this is the graph of cosine. It must be in the form like this. Okay, so this one from here to here is one period. One period. The period is in between 0 to 360 degree or 0 to 2 pi degree. So this one we count as one circle. If more than one circle, so you see, it will be like this form. This is cosine graph. How about the sine graph? Sine graph, it will be in this form. And if you combine like this, actually they are the same. They are both the sinusoidal graph. Then the only is the movement, the period are different a bit. Okay, so again we see this, the first and the third quadrant are positive. First and fourth quadrant positive. First quadrant positive and fourth quadrant positive. Then second and third are negative. So it's correct. Okay. So now I look at the tangent graph. The graph for the tangent is not sinusoidal. So this graph has no maximum or minimum, but the graph repeats itself. The graph for the tangents, the one period is 180 degrees. So it means that half circle is not a whole circle. It's 180 degree or pi radian only. Then the value, we try first, we draw first. So the tangent, you see, you draw how we going to draw the graph of the tangent. So again, the same thing, here is 1, here is negative 1. So 0 pi, then we don't look at the pi radian, we straightforward look at the angle first. 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. So you see, when you press your calculator, you will get the first value. Okay, tangent 0 is 0. Okay, this one no problem. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Then what is the information you will have is the first and the third quadrant is positive, right? So you know this one will be positive and the third quadrant will be positive. Then another two quadrant will be negative. Okay, so see the first one, tangent 0 is 0. So you mark it 0. Then how about tangent 90? If you press your calculator, you press tangent 90, then the answer will be make error kan? Is it? You try to press your calculator, tangent 90, tangent 90, then you get that the calculator is max error, mathematics error. It means that it's undefined. Undefined means that either it's too big or too small. Until your calculator cannot get the exactly value. So what you're going to do actually is very easy. We just want to know whether it's called increasing or decreasing. So you can try the value less a little bit than 90. So for example, tangent 89.99. So just press tangent 89.99. So you will get 5,000 something, huh? So it's around 5,029 plus, right? So it's positive. It means that the value will be very, very big, huh? So it will go up. With this, it will go up. But it won't touch the value here. It won't touch here. It won't touch at the 90 degree here. So it's increasing. So then another one. So how about we try the value tangent a little bit more than 90, 90.001 for example. Tangent 90.001, then see what is the value you get. You get negative 5,000 something. Negative 5,000 something. So it means that it will be very, very small. Very, very small. Like this is somewhere here. Somewhere here. Then we go to the 180, you'll get 0, right? 180 will be 0. So it means that the value is somewhere like this. Okay, it will go down, but it won't touch this line. Okay, it won't touch 90 degree. It go down. Okay, then again, how about 270? Then this one, undefined again. This one means undefined. Undefined again. So you can do the same thing. You see, you try. So the value, you try tangent. You try tangent 260 or what. For example, you try tangent 260. You press your calculator. The value is positive, right? Positive means that it's increasing. You can compare. It's getting more and more. Then another one, then you try another value, tangent more than 271. Tangent 271. So you get the value is tangent 271. Still error, right? Now I will try the bigger value. Tangent 270.1. 270.1. So it will be very small, negative 500 something. So it will be negative here, then it go back to 0. So graph will be in this form. So this is the graph for your tangent. So remember, it didn't touch at the 90, didn't touch at 270. It will go increasing, increase, keep decreasing. This one keep decrease, another one keep increasing. So the graph in this form. Okay, then we check for the positive and negative value. So the first and the third quadrant, see, first and third positive. Then second and fourth negative. So it's correct. This is the pattern for your tangent graph. So now we have to, I introduce the four terms that you will be need to know in the trigonometric graph. The first one is amplitude. Okay, amplitude is maximum or minimum displacement from the x-axis or the equilibrium line. Okay, maximum or minimum. Maximum or minimum from s6 or equilibrium line. What is equilibrium line? This one 0. This one is equilibrium line. And another one for the sine and cosine. This one is the equilibrium line. Equilibrium. Okay, then another one is period. Okay, so you have to know what is the difference between period and cycle. Period is a horizontal length corresponding to a cycle of a trigonometric function. So you can think like that period is a kind of time. If we say s6 is time, so period is time. So period normally is 0 to 360 degree or 0 to 2 pi radian. So it's the range, the range of the one circle is how many. Okay, then for this one is for sine and cosine. Then for tangent, the one period is 0 to 180 degree or 0 to pi radian. Okay, then for cycle is a complete rotations of a trigonometric function. So for cos, this one we call one circle. One circle. This one, one cycle. One cycle. Okay, then for cosine, one cycle. Then for tangent, it's like this, one cycle, 0. Okay, then another one is asymptote. Asymptote means what? Straight line go close to a curve but never cuts or touch it. This one happened to example for the tangent just now. This one is the asymptote line. You see, the curve never touch at x equal to 90 degree or x equal to 27. This one is asymptote. Okay, we'll look at the example here. This is the example for amplitude. The distance between the maximum to the equilibrium line or the s6. This one is amplitude. Then here also, this one also, this one also. This is amplitude. For example, this is 0 to 1, so the amplitude is 1. You cannot say that the amplitude is 2. If you say amplitude is 2, then wrong already. Because it's from maximum to 0. Okay? Not maximum to minimum. Okay? So we go to the next. So look at here. So which one is the example? Which one is the correct amplitude? For you to test. Okay? For amplitude must be maximum to equilibrium or minimum to equilibrium. So we look at fourth. Is it this one amplitude? No, this is not amplitude. This is period. Period of time. Okay, then the second one is not, because it's maximum to minimum. It's wrong. So the third one, no, because it didn't touch the maximum point. This one, no. So the answer is 1, maximum to the x-axis or equilibrium. So the correct amplitude is 1. Okay, then we'll now look at what is the difference of cycle and period. Okay. Period means one cycle. The value for the x in between 300 in one cycle. So this one we count is one cycle. So the purple color one, this one is one period. One period. So the period is, the value for the period is in between 0 to 360 degree. Okay, 360 degree for sine and cosine graph. So we see here. So a periodic function is a trigonometric function which repeats the patterns of y values. So you see this, the sine graph and the cosine graph, they will repeat one. So this is example for sine graph. This is one circle. Okay, from here to here, one circle. Then it will repeat again, circle, circle, third circle. So for your periodic function, it will have 100 or 1,000 or too many, then it will have log of cycles. So one cycle is 0 to 2 pi. Okay. So the period of a function is the horizontal length of one complete cycle. Horizontal length, the value for x, horizontal length of a complete cycle. One cycle, how many? The length of one cycle. Panjang dia. Okay, so if this one we change to time for physics one, for MX we don't have this question. Okay, the time or in other words we can say that the period is time taken to complete a cycle. The time you take to complete a cycle. Okay, so in another word, this one we call wavelength. Sometimes call wavelength. The length of the wave. Okay, that's what we call same meaning. Cycle and period. So now you understand the difference between cycle and period. One cycle, what's the length for one cycle is period lah. Okay, so the last one is the asymptote. Asymptote is a line, then the curve will approach it, but it will touch to infinity. It didn't touch it lah. Mean that the value you won't get the value for the asymptote line, but it will be so near to it, just like the graph of tangent just now, the 180 and 270. Okay, this is the example for asymptote. You will have few times. The first time is horizontal asymptote. Okay, horizontal asymptote, vertical asymptote, and oblique asymptote. Oblique, it means that is the curve is like this one. So the direction can also be negative. Okay, for example, the value for the graph of y equal to 1 over x. Y equal to 1 over x, so your curve will be in this form. This one is the example for asymptote. Okay, so another one, this one we also call as asymptote. Asymptote, it means that the curve can be approached from any size. Okay, or crossover. Crossover many times. Crossover the asymptote line. Then so many until infinity. This one tends to 0 or tends to infinity. This one, the line in between we call the asymptote line. Okay, so we learned about the trigonometric graph. We learned about 3 types of trigonometric graph for our SPN syllabus only lah. So the value here, the period here you have to see whether you want you to be in degree form or in the radian form. Okay, this is the graph of the sine, sinus graph, cosine graph, and the tangent graph. Okay, this is how. So first one, I would like you to look at this one by one. The first one, amplitude. Amplitude. What is the amplitude for the trigonometric graph here? Amplitude is here to here. So it's 1, here to here. So amplitude is 1. So for the cosine graph, so the amplitude 1. 1, negative 1. See the value here? This is 1. Then this is negative 1. So value is positive. We count the length. We don't count positive, negative. We count the length. So amplitude is 1 for the sine graph and the cosine graph. Then how about the tangent? Tangent, we don't have maximum or minimum point. So we don't have this is sine or cos. The amplitude is 1. Then for tangent, we have no amplitude. Okay. So another one, the period. One period for sine. One period for a circle or cycle. Okay, so from 0 to 360, this one we call that one cycle. Okay, 0 to 360, one cycle. Okay, then for this one cycle is half only. We count one cycle only. Okay, for tangent is half of the sine and cosine, because you see this is repeated, right? Is it? Is half only. Okay, so cycle is 0 to 360, then is 0 to 180, or we say this, it will take 2 pi, then this one take pi only. Okay, then the period is the length, then another one, the asymptote for sine and cos, we don't have asymptote. Sine and cosine, we don't have asymptote. But for tangent, yes, the asymptote located as s equal to 90 degree and s equal to 270 degree. Okay. So the graph for these 3 functions, it seems to be periodic, Periodic means repeated. You see, one periodic, one cycle, second cycle is repeating. Okay, because when the x domain is extend, so you see it's keep on repeating, one cycle, two cycle. Then the value can be positive or negative to the x-axis. Okay, so maximum for the sine is positive 1, minimum for the sine, minimum value is negative 1. So you see the period, this one I mentioned already just now. Then the x-axis, this one you have to know. Normally the value we label, 0, 180, and this one is 360. Normally we'll label 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. I'll ask you to label this. During when we're drawing or sketching the graph, we have to draw at least these few things. So, or 0, 2 pi, pi, half over 2 pi, and 3 over 2 pi radian. Okay, easier for you to remember. Then the y-intercept is 0, means because it's touched at 0. This is the y-intercept. Y-intercept. At the y-axis, it touched at the 0 point. Okay, then for the cosine graph, maximum, minimum value are the same. Maximum, minimum are the same, 1 and negative 1. Then period of time also the same. S-intercept, different a bit. S-intercept. So no need, this one not important. The important is y-intercept. Y-intercept, it will touch as the y-axis will touch a value for 1. So y-intercept C equal to 1. Okay, then the graph of the tangent, we have no amplitude. We don't have amplitude. Then the period is half of the 360, half of the circle. Okay, 180 degree of pi only. So asymptote. So you see, remember 90 to 70. Okay, then the y-intercept also 0 here. Okay, so this one is extra. I show you the another 3 types of trigonometric function. We learned about the sinus graph, cosine graph, and tangent graph, right? Then you know the cosine is the reciprocal for sine for the sine functions, right? Reciprocal. What mean reciprocal? You put here. You put this line. This line we call the line in between this one. Because the graph is repeat at this line, right, the maximum and minimum point, right? So reciprocal mean reciprocal, you terbalikkan this one, you just like reflect this one to another side. So this one is 0, Let's say this one 0, this one 1. So your graph of the cosine will be 0, 1. Then here is 2. Okay, because the distance here is 1, right? This is positive 1, positive 1. So here will be positive 1, then this one will be positive 2. So that the distance is 1. It's just like reflect to another side. So this one reflect to up, then this one reflect to down. Okay, this one 0 and 1. So 0 and 1, then this one will be 2. It will reflect down like this. Okay, for the cosine graph, cosine graph is reciprocal with the second function. Second function, you see, okay, the same thing from here, 0, 1, 1 to 2 here. So reflect to another side. Whole reflect to another side. So will be in this form. Then how about the cotangent? Cotangent also the same. Cotangent, you see this? Look at this one by one, The first one. Okay, is reflect to, I'll look at this one by one. It reflect. We look at this one. Is reflect, how to reflect? It's not reflect up or down now, because the asymptote, we have to look at the asymptote line. The asymptote line is at here, right? It's just like the mirror is here. The mirror is here. So it reflect here, so it will be mirror reflect to, you see this? So it will mirror to like this. Okay, so another one, then reflect, reflect. Okay, so the ballet one is a cotangent graph. Okay, but we don't learn about the cotangent, secant, and cosecant. We learn about the sinus, cosine, and the tangent function graph only. Okay, don't worry. And this is the example for the graphing one. Then we will be learned later. So you see, why the both graph, and this one also sinus graph, this one also sinus graph, why the shape and the period are all different. It depends on the value. Let's see the value. Later I will show you in details. Okay, so now we go to the equation for the periodic function. Equation for the periodic function is like this. Periodic function means that it's repeated. Okay, so what does it mean? Phase shift. Phase shift, it means that it's moving, moving to the left, moving to the right, moving to the up, moving to the down. Phase shift means is shift horizontally, move left or move right. Moving left or moving right. Okay, then another one, vertical shift means if move up or move down. Okay, move up or move down. Okay, so normally the functions sine for the sine graph or the cosine graph, we will use this function lah. Okay, you see this y equal to a sin b in bracket what plus d. Okay, what that is mean? So the first one, so a is amplitude lah. The first one between before the graph, before we can be y equal to sine cos tangent. Okay, if it didn't mention, it means that amplitude is 1, not 0, 1 or 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. But if got mentioned, for example, this one 2, this one 3, this one half, what does it mean? No, tangent, no amplitude, Okay, this one mean amplitude, amplitude mean the sine, the value is 0 to 2 to the maximum and minimum. Then this one is negative 2 Then the cos, then the value 0 to 3 like this What's the first one? This one is amplitude. Then the in between tengah-tengah tu this one you don't learn about it. Don't worry This one means shift left, shift right. But no worry I'm not going to teach you from 5. Then we look at BS. For example, sine equal to, for example, y equal to sine 2 theta. 2 theta mean what? Sine theta mean one circle. Sine theta mean 0 to 2 pi radian. Then how about sine 2 theta? 2 theta mean what? Sine theta mean in between 0 to 2 pi, it will have 2 cycle. 2 cycle. 1 time, 2 time. So the value in a cycle or in one cycle, it will have 2 period. 2 cycle in a period of time 0 to 2 pi, it will have 2 cycle. Okay, so if, for example, y equal to cos 3 pi, y equal to cos 3 pi, 0 to 2 pi, then it will have 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 cycle. Okay, one more example. Y equal to sine half degree, half theta. So this one means what? Half cycle. So the sin in between 0 to 2 pi, it will have half cycle only. Half. Okay. Then this one, the bottom one, this one, I mean the vertical shift. Vertical shift. For example, plus 1. So your graph will move up 1, minus 1. Then your graph will move down 1. For example, y equal to sine theta plus 1. Okay, so the normal graph is like this, right? 0, 1, negative 1, right? 0, 1, negative 1, So plus 1. So it means the whole graph will move up 1. dia akan pindah ke atas 1, move up 1 ha. So 1 will become 2, 0 will become 1, negative 1 becomes 0. So the new graph will be in this one lah. Okay, it will move up 1. Then if negative 1, it means that move down lah. Vertical shift. Okay, this is the example. This one I think I mentioned a lot of time already as well. Later you can go through the notes by yourself lah. So we straightforward we go to the practicing of the how we're going to sketch and draw the graph of sine, cosine, and tangent.